School wasn't my thing. I barely graduated high school with a 1.8, not bragging, just reality. College was not even a thought. It's like, how do I get out of school to make a lot of money? When I'm hanging out with daily people, they're talking about problems. When I'm hanging out with the guys in the group, they're talking about solutions.
Yeah.
Problems are there. Fuck, we all have problems. The question is, who's going to solve it and how are we going to solve it? And when are we going to solve it by? Like, so it's very different cadence, you know? But when you're thinking, oh man, yeah, the grass is overgrown. Well, fuck, mow your lawn. Oh, I don't have time. Hire someone. Like, they're so like they always have an excuse. And guys I'm rolling with, man, if you bring an excuse, you better be ready to get berated with massive amounts of, words. You're going to be got to be with words because what happens, man, if you're not, mentally, emotionally strong when you're talking with these folks, they actually can penetrate your brain and actually you start believing their bullshit. Their bullshit, not your bullshit. But then it becomes your bullshit because you actually believe it. So for me, man, I'm just very, I only surround myself. I know a lot of people talk about haters. Where am I at? Where do I want to go? And start plotting that. Stop trying to be me if you're 18. Like, that's not going to happen. It took me 26 years, 27 years, right?
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Life Outside the Mold podcast. If you're new here, we talk all things entrepreneurship and doing everything but living an ordinary lifestyle. If you ever felt like you were meant for more in life than to just exist, you're in the right place. Today, I have the privilege of talking with one of the most badass dudes I know. In his younger years, no one thought he was going to graduate high school. He had a 1.8 GPA. After graduating high school, people expected him to go on to work a minimum wage job. He used to dream of making $100,000 a year, and at 43, he recently just hit $1 million week in just one of his businesses. So if you ever thought you couldn't do something because someone told you it was too hard, recognize that the man who barely graduated high school just went on to make $1 million in 1 week. So Mark, let's start with your story. I'll have given you a proper intro, but tell me a little bit about who is Mark Evans. Tell me about the journey you've been on in life.
Yeah, man. No, I appreciate it. No, so I grew up small town, Ohio, 666 people, an hour east of Columbus, give or take. Great family. Mom and dad's amazing. I have 2 siblings, but I always saw my parents fighting about money. I grew up in a trailer court till I was 10 years old. After that, my parents bought the house off my aunt and uncle in the same town where they still do live. And where I'm from, you're either a contractor, a farmer, or you work at the mill or you do admin work. So I always was like sitting there, again, keep in mind, we didn't have social media and all this stuff, but I grew up in this town like watching lifestyles of the rich and famous in the trailer court and then after and beyond. And I just always knew school was not for me, man. Honestly, I hated school. I liked certain pieces. I liked home ec because I got to learn about like basic stuff and hang out with the girls back then. And then I got to, and I loved, gym and workshop and all that stuff. I like, accomplishing something, seeing something start from scratch and ending up with a result. But like learning about science and all this other silly stuff, it was never my thing. So school wasn't my thing. I barely graduated high school with a 1.8, not bragging, just reality. College was not even a thought. It's like, how do I get out of school to make a lot of money? Back then, a lot of money was $100,000 a year. And then I just started calculating, man, how do I make $100,000 a year? Hey, I got 365 days a year. I could work 16 hours a day. I need $22 an hour, 25, whatever the number was back then. And I will just execute and work. And I think the biggest thing is for me, I'm not afraid to work. My mom and dad gave me amazing work ethic. I just was so afraid of working hard to never have very little. They always have very little to show for it. So I'm not knocking hard work. Hard work is in my world, it's just to be expected because it's my life. But at the end of the day, it's like, what are you working hard on, right? So for me, it's like, it's like if you're trying to dig a hole in the backyard, you can use a spoon, a shovel, or a backhoe. They're both going to accomplish the hole in the ground. Question is, which one are you going to pick? And for me, a lot of people are picking the spoon and they don't even know it. And that's i.e. hard work on the wrong thing. And so, man, it's just, I read Think and Grow Rich, first book I ever read in my life. I was 17, 18 years old. And, I just started reading books and I was like, man, I didn't care about To Kill a Mockingbird. I wanted to learn about success and people and who do I need to become what I want,
Yeah.
Right. Because these are stages of life. And I had no clue. I had no mentors. Books for me were mentors. And then one day, man, I bought a seamless gutter company 2 days after high school, owner financing, just like real estate deal. I went to a real estate seminar 3 or 4 months later. I was 18 years old. I met this guy. I was sitting in the front of the room, 60-something people in the room. I saw this guy make a phone call. This is newspaper days. You don't remember those, I'm sure. But like newspaper days, people are flipping through. We buy houses, selling my house, whatever. He called. The lady said, yes, I'll sell it. I'm just done. And I said, I can do that. And I went to work. And I did that. The way he structured it. The problem is it was wrong for me. I didn't have a financial mentor. I started making money. I just didn't know how to handle the money. And then so for me to handle it, I was just wasted, And but man, that's where I started at.
So you came from Ohio. A few weeks ago, you actually just posted about hitting a huge milestone. In your exact words, you said, when I was a kid, I used to dream of making $100,000 a year. When I was in my 20s, it went to $1 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in my 30s, I wanted $1 million a month. Well, I'm 43, and the team just had our first $1 million plus week in one of my businesses. Yeah. How does a kid who used to knock and get stones thrown at, thinking he wasn't going to get anywhere, go on in life to do something like that? Well,
I always knew I was going somewhere. Everyone around me said I wasn't. That's how I knew I was on the right path. Because again, I don't take advice from any dipshit that's not where I want to be. Period.
Did that affect you at all mentally?
Yeah, dude, I'm stubborn. Yeah. I loved it, actually. It didn't affect me in a negative way. It affected me in a positive way. Like, you ask my wife, if she says, do not buy that, do not do that, I'm going to do it. She knows not to tell me not to do something. Yeah. So it's, again, I'm conditioned like that, dude. Listen, everyone told me what I couldn't do. I was always interested. Tell me what I can do. And then no one has again, keep in mind, when people are saying you can't do things, that's them saying that they gave up on what they're trying to do. Mm. And, I was always the crazy kid. Dude, I was 8 years old selling Barbie dolls on rainy recess because we couldn't go outside. I'm taking my sister's Barbie dolls, trying to sell them for $0.25 or $1 or whatever to get money to go buy candy to sell it for more money. And so it's like, it never affected me in a negative way. Actually, it doesn't happen as much now, which I hate because I like to fight people. I like that. I like that for me.
Yeah, it's so important, like, who you take advice from. Because growing up, you're constantly just taking advice from your family members, from your elders, whoever you're surrounding yourself with, whether you like it or not. And when you think of doing something outside the ordinary, sometimes you just don't want to share your ideas with anyone else, especially when you don't have the network of people who aren't doing shit that's not normal.
Yeah.
Because you know how they'll react. You've seen it happen time and time again. Oh, another one of your ideas, or I'm not sure why you can't just finish school and get a job. So how do you shut everyone out? Whether it's your family members telling you to go to school, get a job, be satisfied with what you have, or your friends laughing at you, say that will never work. How do you do that?
Well, I mean, dude, at the end of the day, if you're telling someone something and they have what you want, you might want to listen. If they don't have you want, it holds zero fucking weight. Zero. Like, it means nothing. But with that said, I see a lot of people, as they start getting some momentum, they keep sharing with the same people that are not going anywhere in life. And then if you don't have what I have, that muscle of using discouragement as encouragement, by the way, that's what I do. I really am. I do get excited when people say I can't do something. That can never happen. There's no way anybody will pay you for that. Like, I really bottle that up into energy in a positive way. So, but at the end of the day, dude, listen, everyone will tell you what you can't do. I mean, we're back to the same conversation, but what can I do? That's all I'm going to talk about with people. Like, you tell me what I can do. And not only that, the people that told me what I couldn't do, the people said I was crazy, which lots of people have told me this my whole life. Now they're like, oh my God, 20 years later, 25 years later, like, holy shit, dude. Oh, by the way, I need a GoFundMe thing. I need $100 to do this or whatever. So now, again, if I had to listen to those dickheads, again, they're not doing it on purpose. Yeah. It's just, they've given up on what they believe in. They're having this conversation that we're having, but with another dipshit that's saying, they call it the king of the dipshit mentality, right? Like, yeah, you're right. Let's stay home. Biden's giving us money to stay home. Like, why work? It's like they've lost track of what their real objectives are. I know what my objective is, dude. And I'm nowhere near where I will be 10 years from now in any way, shape, or form.
It's all a perception thing. And I talked about this with Tim Bratz too when I had him on the podcast. You see people way smarter than you making much less than you do. And on the opposite side of the spectrum, you see, like he said, in real estate, he saw guys with half a brain making money in real estate. So he looked at it and said, if these guys are doing well, I'm going to get rich doing this.
Well, Tim was being nice. Most of them have no brain. But, listen, 1%. And again, I'm not saying that to be a dick. I was that guy. Yeah. I was so dumb. Dude, I was green. I had no clue what I was doing. But again, I think that's the real secret I have is I know I'm dumb. So I hire amazing people. I get around amazing people. And what I've realized, everyone is self-confident, has confidence issues around certain pieces of their life. I don't mind taking a massive risk. Most people are not good at that. I've realized that. Not good at all. I don't care if they have 100 million in the bank. Well, if they have 100 million, they're good at risk typically. But if they're like workers, they're not good at risk taking at a high level. I see the big picture. Straight up, dude. Honestly, I'm terrible at micro problems. I'm sitting here looking at a $6,000 coffee maker I have for real in my cigar room. I've never used it because I don't have 5 minutes to program it on my cell phone. That stuff drives me nuts. But I'd rather build a house. I'd rather build this vision that takes me, the big picture and like get all the cool stuff than to sit down and do that, because that stuff, that's why I have great assistants. That's how I have great people around me to help me with that Mickey Mouse stuff.
So how does someone adopt the perspective that they're much more capable of doing extraordinary things than they've been told in life?
Well, again, I don't know the answer to that, but I do know I don't care what anybody says or thinks. So I'm more worried about the me economy, hence my book, Me Economy. Like if it's not about me, I don't care about it. I mean, you got to be selfish. And it's like, you got to limit your association with people. I did a podcast about this on my show where you got to stop talking. I'm a black sheep, dude. I don't like to go hang out with people and talk about nothing. I don't go hang out and watch sports and get all amped up and get wasted and all that shit. I did that back in the day. It serves you at zero level. Yeah. Unless you're a sports gambler or whatever. I don't know. I don't even know if that serves you, but that's not my thing. And it's like, dude, I'd rather sit down and read a book. I'd rather, work on a business. I'd rather work on a new idea that I'm thinking about. I'd rather just do nothing than waste all my energy. Because what happens, man, if you're not, mentally, emotionally strong when you're talking with these folks, they actually could penetrate your brain and actually you start believing their bullshit.
100%.
Their bullshit, not your bullshit. But then it becomes your bullshit because you actually believe it. Yeah. So for me, man, I'm just very I only surround myself. I know a lot of people talk about haters. I just posted I bought a new Ferrari. Maybe one or two haters, maybe. But again, I don't even pay attention to them because they don't matter. Haters aren't creators, right? Yeah. The majority of the world, like in my world, anyways, 99+% are like, dude, congrats, props, blah, 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 blah. And so it's like, who do you surround yourself around?
So we're talking a little bit about surrounding yourself with the right people. Tell me the importance of, say, like masterminds, spending the money to get around the high level, like-minded group of people. Why is it that these masterminds work in elevating different aspects of your life?
Well, number one, a lot of misconception about a mastermind is about the mastermind you're going into. Not to say it isn't. It is you want to make sure you're picking the person that, hey, if this guy's leading it, there's probably some good people inside that room. But the first and foremost, the biggest benefit is you actually invest in yourself. You believe in yourself enough to make that 35, 50, 100, whatever the amount of it, 5,000, whatever the amount of the investment is. That alone will give you a certain zing in your step, a different confidence factor. Just that one. Dude, I run a 50K a year mastermind. I'm telling you, when guys are scared to make that 50K investment, they're typically the guys that will get the biggest pop out of the gate because they've given themselves permission and they've given themselves the value that they're worth at least 50 grand. Yeah. And when they do that, a whole nother world, I don't even know how to explain it, but just another world opens up because now it's like their money goes out. And again, they think money's the end all be all. It's just a flowing piece, So that 50 grand goes out. I've seen it regularly happen where they have 7 figures come back very quick. When I say quickly, within 30 days, if not less. But massive confidence comes from that. And then not only that, you're hanging out in a group of guys or gals or both where we're talking about positive stuff. We're talking about challenges because a lot of times people think, oh, man, I'm the only one that has these challenges. Dude, bullshit. Your challenge is nothing probably. That's the truth. And then when you see what your challenge is against, then you start creating perspective. And then you start understanding, wow, shit, I got a lot going on for me. I didn't realize it. And then you start borrowing belief because you see a dipshit like me crushing it. And you're like, dude, I can do that. If that dummy can do it, I sure in the hell can do it. So it gives you a different confidence, different belief level. And you're borrowing my belief. And then, now all of a sudden you're changing your language, you're changing your conversations, changing your environment, and more importantly, you're going to change your life.
So what separates the average day-to-day conversation with, say, a friend or family member from the conversations you're able to have with these high-level people? Are you talking about implementing different strategies, investing in systems, operation, growth, failures? What are you talking about?
Well, that's the micro piece of it. The truth is it's very simple. When I'm hanging out with daily people, they're talking about problems. When I'm hanging out with the guys in the group, we're talking about solutions. Yeah. Problems are there. Fuck, we all have problems. The question is, who's going to solve it and how are we going to solve it? And when are we going to solve it by? So it's very different cadence, But when you're thinking, oh man, the grass is overgrown. Well, fuck, mow your lawn. Oh, I don't have time. Hire someone. They're so they always have an excuse. And guys, I'm rolling with, man. If you bring an excuse, you better be ready to get berated with massive amounts of, words. We're gonna beat the shit out of you with words because you're better than that. People just accept it, man. It's not acceptable in our world for sure.
So, how has surrounding yourself with these high level people impacted you personally? Do you think differently? Does it elevate your thinking, your creativity?
Well, again, it's you don't know what you're capable of until you see what you're capable of through other people. Like, why do people think they can own a Ferrari? Because a Ferrari exists. You wouldn't even know the Ferrari exists unless you're seeking something better, something nicer, bigger houses, bigger businesses. That's why I do events with the guys in the DM fam. I have them come to the house because I have a pretty cool house. I've invested millions of dollars in this thing. So when they come and see it, it changes their perspective. You think they're balling at their, 3,000 square foot. And it's probably a nice house. I'm not knocking the size, by the way. 3,000, I'm talking about me. When I had a 3,000 square foot, and then I think I'm balling. Then I go to, this happened in my life. I went to a $38 million mansion. This guy, and the guy literally lived there like 2 days a year. It was one of like 17 of his houses out of the country. He didn't even live in the same country. So when I saw that and then I met him, I'm like, dude, like if he can do that, again, it's just a world I didn't even know existed. So it opened my eyes of what is the possibilities. And I think a lot of people are looking at their bank account, trying to build their life what their bank account says, not with where they're at, not with where they're going.
Yeah, no, it's so true. So you're out of high school. What were your original plans right out of high school?
Make money, get fucking rich, period. That was the plan, dude.
What was your day-to-day? Were you working a job at the time or?
Never. I've never had a W-2 job my entire life as an adult. Yeah. So, man, dude, listen, I went out to make money. I was willing to work. I'll do anything. I'll sweep the roads. I'll sweep your sidewalk. I'll clean your toilets. I'll do anything to fucking get paid. That was I'm getting hyped up because that's my hustle muscle, dude.
Mentality.
That's my world. Everyone's out here looking for a fucking pussyfoot answer. Like, oh, dude, I woke up and I had a very structured day and everything was very amazing. And I did this, that. Yeah. Dude, I did it all, like anything. And oftentimes I didn't even get paid because they screwed me. They scared that, they didn't pay the bills or I didn't send the invoice to get paid. I was good at making it, not good at collecting it. These are two sides of the coin, by the way. And this is the thing.
Odd jobs you were doing at the time, or what?
No, dude, 2 days after high school, I bought a seamless gutter company, straight up.
Okay.
That's what I did. Owner financing. Yeah. The guy broke his back in a car wreck. He couldn't climb a ladder anymore. He was in our small town. He always had this big truck, 1978 box truck out in his yard. And I just stopped by and I lied to him. I was like, hey, my uncle wants to buy it. Are you willing to sell it? He's like, I'd be interested. I was like, well, how much you want for it? He's like, 50 grand. I'm like, I don't have 50 grand. Like 50 grand would be like, I don't know anybody has 50 grand. So I was like, well, let me check with my uncle. It was kind of cool. And then I walked back the next day. I was like, hey, man, my uncle's not interested, but I think it's too high. He's like, well, what do you think it's worth? I was like, probably half that, if that. He's like, all right, 25,000, I'd sell it. Again, keep in mind, the truck's been sitting there for 6 months because he's been laid up. Yeah. And, this guy was kind of like a small-time investor guy, so he understood owner financing and all that. I was like, but my uncle's not even interested in it. I'm interested in it. And he's like, well, I'll finance you. And he financed me. He's like, what do you know about gutters? I was like, water runs downhill. This is a true story. I was literally in his front yard shaking his hand, owner financing for $287 a month. He financed me for 5 years.
Wow.
So it's that's how it started, dude.
Yeah. So someone that's out of high school, say someone that's listening, doesn't really know what they want out of life, is kind of just coasting, taking whatever life throws their way. Just what do you say to someone to figure out what they want out of life?
I don't say anything, man. I still don't know what the hell I want to do. I'm 43 years old. So it's not about, what the moment. It's like, where do you want to be though? Where do you want to go? So once you kind of pick the destination, you got to find a destination. And a destination today, it's actually a checkpoint in life. You won't know that because you don't realize that yet. But to me, my goal was 100 grand. The real truth is that was a destination checkpoint and a moment, then 1 million, then 2 million, whatever. But I've made $1 million in a day, let alone in a month. I don't talk about that. I've talked about that in the past through my real estate company. So it's like these are checkpoints and moments and processes. So if you don't know what you're doing, you got to get your shit together. And how do you do that? You got to get around great people that are actually somewhere in life. You got to get around. You got to start reading books. You got to stop following Pornhub and start following some investing stuff. Some investing hub and learn about business, learn about life, learn about finances, and discover what you're really trying to do. Truth is, maybe buy this book. This is not even my book, but How Will You Measure Your Life? I'm reading this again. It's, you're sitting at home with your thumb up your ass or, hoping Biden's going to save your ass, but we all know that's not going to happen. But you got to figure out what you want and step your game up. That's the truth.
So say this scenario, someone that just graduated high school, they can go to college if they take out a loan, if they want to go get into debt, but they also have the option to do something else, but they don't know what else is out there. What do they do? What are the first steps they take in that scenario?
I don't know, man. Again, I don't mentor people on that level because again, it's beyond my capabilities. I'm not that smart and I don't want to fuck someone's life up. But if I was you, I'd get my shit together and figure out what I want. That's what I do. You know, I call it thought auditing, right? Here's what I have. Here's when I want to go. Why do I think the way I think? Why do I think 100 grand is a lot of money? Why do I think I don't have any money? Why do I think I don't have any direction? You have fucking direction or you wouldn't even be asking the question. The question is, what direction are you taking? And the truth, you're going to take the wrong direction many times in the beginning. Many times. The question then after that is, when are you going to quit? And if you quit, that's when you fucking lose. I don't quit. That's a thing. That's a good and bad trait, by the way, depending what you're doing. You know, just a kind of like in my personality. So I think you got to figure out, like, where am I at? Where do I want to go? And start plotting that. Stop trying to be me if you're 18. Like, that's not going to happen. It took me 26 years, 27 years, right? So where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? And just start setting up these checkpoints so you know you're progressing. Are you talking better? Are you hanging out with better people? Are you stop drinking every day? Are you stop smoking weed every day? What are you doing all day? Because a lot of people are saying they want something, but all their actions, all their results will never show up because they're drunk, wasted, stoned, all this shit because they read a book or they're, you know, whatever. But dude, there's so many ways now compared to when I started. I think that's why a lot of people ask these questions because they have too many options. My option was get out of the small town by growing me. No one's going to do it. You got to realize when you're 18, 19, 20 that you're a fucking adult now. Mommy and daddy are no longer your providers. You are your provider. I've never looked at my parents for money ever in my entire life. Dude, I was living in an efficiency apartment, had my car repoed, had no furniture except my bed, had a light, had candles, reading a book about how to get rich in real estate. And my parents didn't have a fucking clue because I wasn't whining around and crying around and asking mommy and daddy for handouts. That's the truth.
Yeah. So you wrote a blog post where you talked about flying first class versus coach. You said we want to be we want to be treated like first class, and we want to do business and work with people in first class, but we treat ourselves like coach. When we spend the least but expect the most. We cut coupons but expect to be paid top notch. Basically, we want the first class life but only invest in the coach seats. How do you look at expenses differently? How do you treat yourself differently than the average person?
Straight up, dude, I don't even know what my expenses are. I haven't known what my expenses are for a long, like maybe 20 years. Expenses don't dictate me. I create more income. You know, when you start, and again, you got to find out what drives you. My personality, if I know my expenses, like, dude, my expenses are 7 figures a month. I know that. I know they're 7 figures a month, personal and business, right? I know we invest a lot of money out. So the question is, you know, if you have to look at micromanage expenses, the problem for me is when I'm focused on expenses, I go back to my scarcity mindset. I grew up in a fucking trailer court, dude. Like, so my brain like shuts down, shut the door. What do you think? You're born in a barn. Turn off the lights, blah, 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 blah. These are like 12-cent moments per year, by the way. It's like, dude, like if I'm and I've seen everyone around me in my life, that's all they talk about. I got to go 4 miles down the road. The gas is 2 cents cheaper. The line's a little bit longer, but it's okay. Like, again, to me, time is mine. That's what I'm shooting more for. I want more time. But, dude, I mean, at the end of the day, I really don't pay attention to expenses at all. You can ask anybody on my team. I'm focused on the value. I'm focused on making more money. Again, problem is for growth, if you're always focused on your expenses, it's hard to grow. Yeah. Because you're so caught up in, oh my God, it's like I'm going to get a website. It's $12 a month. If $12 a month is the problem, that's the problem. You need to go make fucking $12,000, and then $12 becomes insignificant. It's nothing. So some people get tripped up on the $12, they'll never ever make the $12,000.
So, and this kind of relates to life just as a whole, but in one of your blogs, you also talked about retirement, the freedom to stop doing. You define it as the freedom to stop doing what you don't want to do for a living and to start living the life you dream of. Yeah. And I talked a little bit about this with Jimmy Rex. When you talk about people who make a little amount of money, all they talk about is wanting to retire. It's not really about wanting to retire. It's wanting to be able to do the things they love because they're in their current situation. They're not able to. Because if you do, like you said, if you do what you love, you're already retired. So in your mind, what age did you retire?
Well, again, first of all, what does retirement mean? I think that's the biggest thing people need to, again, the thought audit. What does retirement mean? The only people that's ever told me to retire are people who have no money, right?
Yeah.
You know me saying. The only people told me they can't wait for retirement are people that hate their fucking life today. And you think about, and at 27 years old, me and my wife started traveling around the world for 7 years, December 31st, 05. And I can tell you right now, I met a lot of people pushing their husbands up a fucking hill in a wheelchair on retirement, staying in the shittiest place because they have no money, staying, barely able to get by because they, again, they waited so long. They didn't go enjoy life. I think life's a little bit backwards, man. I want to go enjoy life while I'm alive. I want to enjoy life while I'm, physically fit and I can get around. I want to enjoy, not only that, I want the best of the best. So to me, retirement is a word that people use. I don't care about retirement. I would never retire. It's just stupid. It makes zero sense. It's like, I'm going to quit doing something I love. That sounds like a good idea.
Yeah.
And here's the thing is, if anybody thinks retirement is a fucking good idea, go to a nursing home and sit down with 100 people.
Yeah.
Talk to them. Ask them what they wish they would have done different. Ask them what they wish they would have, or do they wish they would have retired sooner or later? Do you ask them if they wish they'd have waited, took that family or planned that family trip they probably never took because life always gets in the way.
Yeah.
Because they get sick or, the spouse gets sick or grandma and grandpa or mom and dad. There's all these things that are always happening in their world. And just ask them and pay attention to what they respond to. And you're going to realize the fucking biggest lie in the world, one of the biggest lies in the world is retirement. You guys understand that retirement is the carrot dangled in front of you to keep your ass showing up to work every day. That's what retirement is.
Yeah, so true.
There's really no other reason behind it except they want to keep that big picture. Guys in my group, I never want to retire, nor do they. And I'm talking to all my employees, all my staff, everybody that works with me. We have hundreds of people I would get to work with. Thank God I don't work with hundreds of them. I work with the top people and then they, tear down. Yep. But, I want everyone, and I'm talking from the ground up, to be massive millionaires. I want them to enjoy their life. I want them to know that I'm going to be around forever. I want them to around forever. I want, legacy, as I'm talking about. So I'm not thinking about, expenses and, make a couple bucks and retiring. It's like, dude, I want people who want a career and have a life while they're alive.
So, you just, not recently, but relatively recently, you just bought your dad's dream car. Tell me a little bit about, you kind of mentioned that you talked a little bit about this on, when you came on Tim Bratz's virtual event. Tell me a little bit about what was going through your head that made you sort of put that off for a little while, and what made you jump ship and just buy it for him one day.
Yeah, no, honestly, man, it's fucking stupid of me to take so long. It's something I just kept putting on the back burner because it wasn't important or I wasn't thinking about it. It's something I've thought about. It's just I never implement. Keep in mind, I've done a lot of other stuff for my parents and, different things like that and people I care about. But it was something I just kind of was like, tap me on the shoulder, and I just kept pushing it back. Like, oh, buy your dad Corvette, buy your dad Corvette, buy your dad Corvette, his dream car. And, again, I did an 8-page report on this to myself. I write letters to myself often. Tim and those guys in the DM family get to see those. But, kind of the thought process, the emotional thought process, the mental thought process, the dumbass thought process. Again, it's like, why did I think that? And dude, I could have bought this Corvette many times over, many years ago. It was not about the Corvette. It was more about, it was me. I just had a weird hang up. I don't know what it was. And, I talked myself through it and walked out and, literally I just woke up and said, here's the truth. I said, I'm summing it up, but I was like, if my dad died before I was able to give him what I wanted and what he wanted, I wouldn't be able to live with myself. That was the tipping point. That's when I was just thought auditing and something popped up and I was like, dude, literally within 48 hours, I had a car bought when I had that thought. And cause it made sense to me, it hit and it clicked. And like I said, I just never really had that deep conversation, but as we get older, we get a little bit more, wiser ideally. And, time is not on our side, every day, every month, every year, that we get down this timeline. I mean, death is inevitable. We're all going to die. The question is when and how, right? So for me, it was just like, hey, my dad, he could enjoy it. He's young enough. He'll take it out. He'll have a blast. And it's the best gift in the world. I love giving. That's my thing. I'm a big giver. So and that's the truth is, man, too, like this year I've given more money away than I've ever given probably in the last 5 years. Not just gifts like Corvettes, but like, charitable foundations, building Haitian communities for 500 people. Like we're doing a lot of cool stuff. So if I can't take care of the people I love the most, my parents and, people around me, it's kind of meaningless to have all this money and freedom.
Yeah, no, it's so true. It's a really good point. And so for everyone listening, Mark also has a book called Me Economy. It's sitting right behind him. You can see it in his photo, but you can find it on Amazon, focusing on how to control every aspect of your life. Every dime from that, if I'm right, goes to Operation Underground Railroad Charity.
Yep.
If you haven't heard of it, they rescue children from sex trafficking. And it's a really interesting cause. I'll leave a link to that down below, as well as a link to Mark Evans' book, Me Economy. Highly recommend you spend $10 to invest in yourself. It's for a good cause. Dude, I can't thank you enough for taking the time to come on the show today. And I'm stoked to be able to meet you in person at the Legacy event in November.
Yeah, no, man, I appreciate having me. And people, again, back to your audience, like whoever's listening still is, $10 for the book or whatever. Here's the difference between savers and doers. People are trying to say, oh, $10, and they'll try to go get it online for free. Maybe it is. I don't think you can, but maybe some clown has put it online for free somewhere, and you think you're saving $10. What you just did is you stole from yourself, your future self, in a massive way, because you're figuring out how to game the system, not become the game in the system. Build, grow, evolve, develop. And if you can't spend $10 on a fucking book, you're never going to make money. I promise you. You might make a little bit of money, but you'll never be stupid, wealthy, rich. And you'll never have the means to do the things you want. And if you kind of start getting close to that, you're going to fail at it because you don't see the value in what you're capable of doing. You're always going to be minimal. You're a minimalist at the highest level to yourself. And I don't mind being a minimalist if you're into that kind of living, but don't be it to yourself. You're bigger than that, better than that, and there's so much opportunity, and so just live abundantly.
Yeah, man. Awesome. I love it. All right, Mark. Thanks, you, man. Brother. Appreciate it.
Appreciate you, buddy.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the Life Outside the Mold podcast. If you're new here, we talk all things entrepreneurship and doing everything but living an ordinary lifestyle. If you ever felt like you were meant for more in life than to just exist, you're in the right place.